Hey everyone, welcome to another Gadget Talk. Chad, this has been so crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. I've been so busy and doing so many different things, going so many different directions. And of course, the holidays coming up this week. I almost forgot about earlier this week. I was thinking there's another Tuesday in November, but there's not.
Right. Yeah, next month. Next month we have the extra Tuesday. But now I understand it's been busy for me as well too. So yeah, we talked about it. Actually, what was this afternoon? It was like, oh, we forgot to create the thumbnail and everything. So
Like,
or
oh,
I mean you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
But it was like, but so it's a random variation show of a lot of the caches that you've built on here, and you've done some different variations of them. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a complete surprise to me because I don't know what all you have in store. So I get to enjoy it with everybody else in the chat room as well.
Yes, yeah, because this will all be a surprise for you.
Yep.
And one of the reasons why we're doing the variation is we talked about that reed switch and options, what we could do with that, making that tube. But I guess before we go over that, we probably need to get to the sponsors.
Yep. Let's go ahead and take care of that. We'll pay the bills, and then we'll go have some fun. If you would like to become a patron, click on the Become a Patron link on the front page of the Geocache Talk website, or head over to patreon.com/Geocache Talk for more details. Patrons get the now famous blackout coins and other geocaching items during the year. Support levels start as low as the Bison Tube level, which is only $3 a month.
Logwork, the creators of the fantastic logbook made with genuine Right in the Rain paper. The logbook's designed for the micro containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who'd rather go caching than doing cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's LOGWERK.com.
All right. So now that's done. Now we can have some fun. Yeah. That's one thing I was really thinking, because a lot of times what we're doing here on Gadget Talk is kind of giving you an idea, and then you take that idea and you just run with it. So there's a lot of variations to these builds itself, and I love seeing those variations. I don't know about you, Chad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm kind of excited to show a couple things. It's kind of funny, we were talking about that Tuesday, thinking that there's another week. I didn't build these until today, so I was sitting there going, "Oh man, what can I do?" And so I actually pulled a bunch of stuff out. So it's going to be kind of fun for this. So
yeah, I mean, I was building today as well. I usually build on Tuesdays, and so yeah, Tuesdays are build days. So
yeah. So one of the things we talked about before, we did the reed switch cache. So we did the. I took it apart. I actually had to use the reed switches because I didn't order more, but we did the reed switches on this with the magnet. So we talked about putting it in a pipe or making something more urban for it. So I ended up putting it in a pipe. And so one thing on this is I thought would be kind of cool is if you actually, and I did not make this version, but if you want to do a teamwork cache, you could actually do this on like a 20-foot pipe, and one person has to walk down with the reeds with the magnet, and you have, so if this is the pipe, you would have the LEDs on this side. And so whoever was at the other end doing the magnet wouldn't be able to see what LED colors lit up. So you'd have to have someone over there actually tracking the LED colors. So I thought that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, so you'd have the reed switch all the way down. So it would have to do is it a loop? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So pretty much you have your whatever one you have hooked to your reed switch, your negative or your positive will just loop down there, and then the other one is just up in the top. So we'll just go over this real quick and we can talk about it. So this is what I made. This is just a standard. I made it a little long. It's a 4-foot pipe with a cap on it. Okay. And if you take the cap off of it, the LEDs are there. So when I made it, I wanted the LEDs cap to actually hide the LEDs.
Okay.
I didn't want the price tag on there, the sticker. Anyways, so then it's one of the things I don't like about, or I like about doing urban hides is nothing's obvious, right? I don't want anything showing. So if you had this and you mounted it to a building, a fence post, anything like that, it would blend in fairly well. And so all it is pretty much is a straight pipe. And you take the cap off, and the cap is the tool.
Okay.
And so what I do is that one's, I didn't make 2 caps. I only made 1. So on the inside of the cap,
your build cam just went off.
My build cam just went off. Just so people know too, tonight is we got a new build cam that is a GoPro. It's clear. We don't have to worry about in theory
in the focus or anything like that.
Focus. Yeah, there you go. I'll let you talk while I'm trying to figure it out. I can't do 2 things at once. I can't.
Yeah. So K4 WK said had a comment, says, could you use a smartphone camera at the far end? Yeah, but that's cheating.
If you could do it, then great. You know, that's
I mean, we're always trying to figure different ways of doing different stuff. But yeah, you could do it that way. But the other variation is if you had marks, if it was a 20-foot long pipe, you had marks on 2 different places that you couldn't stretch your arms to, and you had to use both. Yeah,
there you go.
Have multiple
you could
places
actually link 2 of the switch RFIDs. I don't know how you'd know if you hit the right RFID or not, because there's no labels on the. Oh, you said
label. You'd have to label it on somehow on the pipe itself.
Oh, okay.
That you could. Then you'd have multiple. You have to maybe 3 people to do it. Then you would definitely have to have a teamwork. You could do it too with the camera. There.
Yeah. So on the inside of the, I'm gonna add that here to the stream. On the inside of the cap,
it went back to the other one. It cut the ends off it again.
Oh, it went back.
Yep.
It's not on the white. Well, that's good. People don't get to see my mess on my desk. I epoxy in a magnet. And so this is actually one of the big magnets that I had. So it's really strong. It's actually probably too strong for this cache. It's going to make it really easy to find. But one reason why I did the bigger magnet, though, when I was thinking of it is, sorry, Derek, go back here, is because the wires, I actually just ran the wires. I didn't mount them inside. So the RFID switches or not RFID, I'm sorry, the reed switches are just randomly placed loose, right? So running one way. And so I wanted it to be strong enough to get it as long as it's in that section, right? You wouldn't have to go on the bottom or top or anything, because I can't guarantee where they're going to be sitting when I shove them in there.
Right.
I actually made about 8 feet worth of wire on accident. Well, not thinking. So I ended up having to wind a bunch up in there. But so anyways, the cap is the tool. And I usually write tool on the inside of the cap when I make it. So you get the cap, it's a tool, and then you just got to run it up and down the pipe. And let's see if we can get one here to turn on. That one, I had the cap without the magnet. I don't know if I can see in there. You tell me if you see one hook turn on.
I'm looking. I'm going to make your shot bigger so I can see better. Yep, there's one.
There's the white.
Okay, so there's white. That's the number 1.
4 feet was too long for this.
That's white again.
White. So the other 2 have to be somewhere up here.
Now, are you just running that off of a 9-volt battery, or what were you running that off of?
Yeah, you can kind of see in the end. I just have a 9-volt
there
shoved
it is.
in.
Okay.
I would have a cap in here, something to so people can't shove a finger in there, but I wasn't going to show that part. But anyway, it's funny as I did this like 10 times right before the show.
Yep, there's good there. For audio, there's white again. So for the audio listeners, Chad is running a magnet up and down a PVC pipe, trying to find the reed switches on this pipe to light up the LEDs. And that's white again.
Okay. Of course.
Somehow the other ones came undone.
No, I don't think so. I'm going to grab, this is not the one I wanted.
When in doubt, grab a bigger magnet.
I'm grabbing a hard drive magnet.
That's
the one I always carry with me.
So
most of them are in my car, but here we go.
Probably. Right, then we're gonna go big screen again. There's the other one. Or nope, maybe no. It was just the way it was reflecting.
Yeah. There we go. There's green.
There's green. Okay.
and then there's a blue one somewhere. I'm thinking it must be, if white is at the, no, there's green again. Well, shoot.
All right.
Somewhere up here. Anyway, I don't want to spend forever on it.
See, we even
it did
this
turn
is
on.
One thing about making caches, they can be challenging even to define the builders too.
That is weird. I should have marked where I put them in there because I had them all lighten up earlier. But anyway,
but this also just goes to when you're building caches, there is a lot of trial and error to it, and trying to make it and beta testing it and trying to make sure how things are going to go all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well.
But I love that idea. Now, where would you have? Would you have like a separate container that actually would house the log, and you just have to figure it out from that? Is that what you do?
Yeah. So you could do that, or you could do one where at the bottom of the pipe is open, and you have the lock.
Okay.
With the preform in there.
Okay.
So this is a different version I did.
Okay.
A little bit
LED?
easier. No LEDs.
Okay.
So this one just says you have to find, I don't know how you would say it, figure out the code. Use a tool to figure out the code. And so if you took this and you ran this is a magnet again, around it anywhere, you'd have to find the right spot. And I think on this, it's up here.
The code you are looking for is 2694.
Could you hear that?
Yeah, 2694.
So yeah, it actually talks to you.
The code you are looking for is 26.
So instead of any LEDs or anything like that sticking out, it will just talk to you and tell you
all right.
what the code is.
And so what was that with an Arduino? How'd you do that?
No, I'm trying to keep it simple. And so one of my friends turned me on to these little voice modules, and I think I actually meant to look them up and put them on a bigger picture of it on the thing, are these little voice modules you get. And I think they're like $9 or something on eBay.
Okay.
There's several different ones. There's one with a 1-button one, and then there's one with 4 buttons. There's several different ones. They record anywhere from 30 seconds to 300 seconds, depending on which one you get.
Okay.
So this one here is, what I ended up doing was taking the switch out, the button out here, and then putting in the reed switch, obviously making the wires longer. And so that activates the voice, and this should last for a long time once it's in the cache.
That's really cool. I really like that.
Pretty basic one, really simple. Here's another one that runs off whatever. So it doesn't have a power source that comes with it. I hooked it up to 4 AA's. And it actually is a MP3 system here. And this, I think, is 300 seconds, but it came with a song. I haven't done anything to this.
Okay.
So it actually came with a song on it. So I don't know. They're not too bad, but it'll play like 300 seconds. So you can do songs or anything like that.
Oh, that's really cool.
On it. So that's one way. And then the other one I did.
Tom asks, is that basically the same thing you find in some stuffed animals?
Pretty much.
pretty
Probably
much.
A little more expensive, but it's pretty close. What were you saying, Derek?
Yeah, no. I was just thinking, it's pretty much that's what I was thinking too.
And then here's another version of it. And this actually has 4 buttons. And so originally I was going to do 4 reed switches instead of having the 4 LEDs. I was going to do 4 reed switches, and then you'd go up and down the pipe and it would tell you a different number on it. Cool. So this one records a little bit different. These other ones you have to download off the internet. This one here and this one, you can actually just use your phone. You plug it in to the top there or USB port. It's up to you. And you can actually input the song or whatever you want to put on there. So what I ended up doing on this one was put numbers on it.
16 minus 9.
So I did one where I didn't want to just say a number.
Right.
So I had 16 minus 9 on there. So what is that? 7?
Yeah.
So I wanted you to actually think, and then some is a number. So you could do whatever you want. You could do different songs and have like a, I don't know, some game where you got to put a, do something with songs. I don't know.
That's really cool.
But this will do 300 seconds.
So Audie Olson said you destroyed your Build-A-Bear.
Yeah. No, these Goblin Dust actually got me onto these. He does a lot of them in the cache, and they last forever, and they work really, really well. In fact, he made, let me grab one here.
Okay. So those of you that are in the chat room, that's just another way that you can make a smart cache non-smart.
Yeah, and they're inexpensive.
Yeah. And just figuring out different ways that you could do it.
Goblin Dust made this one for in a store, and I am going to transfer everything over because I can mill it and stuff into a can that's not open.
Okay.
So you don't have this. He stuck this top on here, but it's just a can, and it's going to sit on a shelf. Let me do this. So it'll sit on a shelf, and then when you pick it up, it'll talk to you. Whoops. It's skipping. I wonder if the battery is low. I've had it for like a year and a half. But you can see he just upgrades the battery packs in them.
Right.
There, and then you put weight and stuff in there. But that's the exact same thing that he did. So, yeah, I'm going to put a new label system and everything on it. So you pick it up, and it will talk to you and tell you what to do. I don't remember if this is a lab. I think this was supposed to be a lab cache. So, anyways.
Okay. That's really cool. I like that. Yeah. Another one of those creative builds, kind of really very interesting. And I'm just trying to think, you'd probably use that as just, could you put that in another store? How would you hide that?
I don't want to say the plans for it because people will probably be up here looking for it.
No, true. So you'll have to watch you have to watch the cache pages for that one. And 2021, if we make it to Seattle, that'll be one there. Now, is this going to be more of a lab, or is this actually an actual physical cache that you're thinking of?
So it's a lab cache, which is not an adventure lab. It's a lab cache. So a lab cache for a event can be inside of a place, can be a physical container.
Right. Right.
Stuff like that. So,
okay.
So those sound cards are really cool. In fact, if you've ever done my mission,
sorry, Pizza just said you could call it "Spill the Beans."
Yeah, and I don't know what he's gonna call it. I'm just making the container for it. He did everything else. But yeah, you could. That'd be cool.
So KW4 K, I guess is K4 week. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. But he wants to know, how do we keep coming up with so many different new ideas? Well, a lot of them are just variations of what we've already done. So at least it is for me. And then of course, Chad and I talk a lot, and we bounce different ideas off of each other. At least I bounce a lot of ideas off of Chad on some different things, and we just share ideas. So, it's always those that are around us for me. What about you, Chad?
Yeah. Just like putting stuff together, right? And thinking, oh, this might work with this. It's hard to come up with ideas. In fact, when we started doing the build shows, I thought that's just fine. Once a month is going to be really easy. But in order to do it in an hour and then to be able to explain it to you good enough and then not get too complicated has been a challenge. And then, a lot of people don't want to do Arduino. It's a little too hard for them, but then a lot of people want to do Arduino. So we're trying to find the happy medium or whatever it is you call it for everybody. So we're kind of doing some Arduino and then some regular basic caches.
Right.
And so these sound modules really can change how a cache is with just putting in a cheap little module you buy on eBay.
Yeah, and you get them on eBay. You can't find them on Amazon or anywhere else. You just on eBay.
I'm sorry, Amazon.
Okay,
Amazon, eBay. They're on all these catalog stores. They're a Chinese cheap little player. So and then you could buy just the card as well. So this has a card on it. You could buy just the card.
Okay.
If you want, and then add your own speakers and everything. It's up to you. The whole thing is not that expensive.
All right.
So I just usually buy the whole thing.
So to answer my question that I had for KW4K. It's his ham. He's a ham operator, and it's Kilo for Whiskey Kilo.
Oh, okay, well that explains it. I
Yep,
didn't know what it was either.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are ham operators, so that's really cool. And then another person that comes up with some really great ideas, and I've seen some of his on Joshua's videos, and he's in the chat tonight. That's Tricassius.
Oh yeah,
those are some phenomenal caches that Tricassius comes up with.
We are going to have the honor of having him on one of the shows here soon to do a build.
Oh, awesome. Hey,
so I guess I haven't told you about that.
No, hey, that's great. Can't wait. So we're gonna have 2 Chads once again on the podcast. And your build can went off again.
I see that, yeah.
So and now Kilo for Whiskey Kilo is dropping it in Morse code now. So
yeah.
Wrong show. That's Puzzle Talk.
Yeah.
They figured that one out. So all right. So what do we have next, Chad?
So next we wanted to talk about well, you know what, real quick while I have you, I know we're going a little bit quicker than I was thinking I was going to be, is if you've ever found my Crack the Code cache. So we're talking about these little modules, and you know
we did that last build.
Yeah, and it'll tell you how to do the puzzle.
Right.
So that's one of these, and I think I have it right here.
All right, kick and build cam.
So this is the Crack the Code puzzle box. Oh, wrong. Sorry. That I have for events or whatever.
Right.
And so if you actually go on here, we'll go back to the build cam, and you arm it, you can actually, I have not done this for, I think the last time I was in this was that Georgia thing. If you push this button here, it actually talks to you.
The case you are looking at is to discover old puzzle box. In order to discover this box.
So anyways, we don't need to go through the whole thing.
So is that the same module that you were just showing us on that one?
It's the cheapest one you have here. Yes, it's the cheapest one that I'm not using. It's this one right here. It's like $9.
$9.
Yeah. So I just integrated in there, and it actually really makes the cache sound really cool.
It does. Almost sounds like Optimus Prime in some aspect.
Yeah.
At least through this on this side of it does.
Yeah. And that was a MP3, a recording thing I did on my iPad, and then you could change the voice. And that voice was one of the guys off of Batman. You can change it too.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the guy's name. He had a mask thing.
Right.
But anyways. So that's what that was. And so if you put it in your caches like that, that whole thing does a Mission Impossible whole speak. And so it goes on for a while. The only thing I wish I need to change on that is to actually put a headpiece, like a phone, because we're at events and everything's loud. It's impossible to hear that.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. Now, you're gonna have to send me. I'll have to find the links, and we'll get a kind of a show notes going, and that'll be up here in the next few days. Oh,
I like Dave's comment.
Yeah, I know. I just saw it too. No one ever reads the instructions for a cache. At least this puts it out in a fun way. I just did a build that you're going to have to actually go, and it's the one I started last week on my channel behind the cache, and I finished it up today. That would be actually a really cool way, because just say, have the button on there. You don't know how to do this. They push the button and said, go read the cache description page. And then it gets your answer. I mean, that'd be another way to add that into it. But yeah, Dave, you're right. Nobody reads the instructions for a cache. That's why a lot of our gadget caches get broken. So
that's why I use those security screws. Because in fact, yesterday I had a guy texting me on one of my caches that he couldn't figure out. It's an RFID card one you have to scan.
Right.
And it has the LEDs. And he thought he had to take the LED cover off, or the cover of the thing off, to figure it out. And I'm like, why would you take it apart? And so that's why I put the security screws on there, so he wasn't able to. But I told him to read the cache page.
Yeah.
So, and he still got it wrong. He DNF'd it. So,
Red's
but,
3,
anyway.
blue's 5.
To go on back to something that we did a couple weeks ago, go here to the build cam, is this crack the code. And just to show something that we did, because we added a servo to this.
Okay.
And so plug it in here. Well, that seems really okay.
Yeah.
Can you see that okay?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
now it's
Great.
cleared
That
up.
build cam
On my end, it was really grainy. So I added this little insert or this little dispenser here to this that I 3D printed. Dave Wagner sent this file to me from another one of his friends.
Now, but that's a little bit different because you've extended that one a little bit more, haven't you?
Yes. I modified it because I didn't like the original one, which I have right here.
I have one too.
Let me grab another preform. Okay, so you have the preform and you shove it up in here. And I don't have this together. But it would sit there, and then I don't like how this is loose.
Right.
Right. I didn't like how you can kind of wiggle that. So I just took it in the 3D file and went into a CAD, and I just pretty much just extended it.
Extruded it, yeah.
Yeah.
I like
that. And then it also gives me more places to mount it.
Right.
As well. So, but this is using remember we added that servo to that code.
Right.
On there. And so this is actually one of the good uses for it. Is when we type in the code, and you'll see how it works. I guess I could take the top off, but you type in the code that we had, opens up, and the servo opens, turns, and then the preform comes out. And I have it set for, I haven't changed it since we did the show. 10 seconds is way too long. But once it goes back off, you just shove it up in there and it won't come back out. And the bottom of this will be there'll be a 3/4 inch piece of wood here. This is for a birdhouse. Never made a birdhouse before, Cache. So it'll be up in there, and then I'm going to have a top on it so you can't push it up too far either. So it'll be cool that way. And then if you wanted to do something other than the servo, the easy way for me to do it is to run the relay here. So I'm running it off of, so you need your 5 volts in your ground and then your signal. Well, we have on here, and I'm sure people would tell me they wouldn't run it, they wouldn't do it this way, but it's really easy and it works for me. We have the red and the green LED. Well, when the green LED gets a signal, it can trip the solenoid. Or not solenoid, I'm sorry.
The relay.
The relay. Sorry, my memory is the worst. And then it would obviously then trip the solenoid or magnetic lock, whatever you want to use.
Okay.
So if you typed it in, and I wasn't planning on showing this, but we're going so quick. Let me set this up real quick.
Okay. Yeah, Dave was saying that those work for him, but you can also get ones with a pin in the center. So you even need a more special driver, which is he's talking about the security screws. And so that's really good. And he uses mostly chocks. And then K4 WK Kilo Whiskey 4 Whiskey Kilo says, I've been using deck screws with star heads that most people couldn't take apart. Maybe. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to be able to secure your caches with different types of screws itself, so that this makes it a little bit harder to get into. I've used those as well, different things, or just have a variation of a whole bunch of them. So that works really well too.
Yeah, and I know what Dave's talking about. Those are the security screws. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm kind of over here.
So here's a question, and this is from Kilo 4 Whiskey Kilo. Has anybody ever made a birdhouse gadget cache that is actually also a birdhouse? And he says probably a lousy idea. It could be. I mean, one, you have a bird and you're disturbing its home all the time, so people probably would really frown upon that. And sometimes those birds, especially if they've laid eggs in there, if you start messing with it, may not be a good idea. So, but hey, I've seen somebody that's done a fake one and actually had a when they opened it up, there was like a glass area that looked like it was actually a birdhouse inside there, but it was all fake. All right,
Okay.
Chad, what are you MacGyver?
So this is a 12 volt. Oh, it's actually 6 volt. Latch. So what we need to do is get 12 volts to the latch. So the relay needs to be able to activate from the signal, and then it needs to take the 12 volts and say, okay, you can have it now to activate the relay or to activate the solenoid or the latch. So I'm just running a real quick way here. Everybody, I don't recommend doing to anybody. Power. So don't do this at home.
Bad scientist stuff going on right now.
It's only 12 volts. Actually,
yeah.
12 volts would do. And then, so we need 12 volts from the battery. So we have our ground hooked up here to our latch. And then we're going to hook up our power. As soon as I get that.
Yeah, Dave says, yeah, K4WK says, I'm going to make some bat houses kind of easy. But Dave said right before that, day cache, night bats.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it would keep the bugs down. So, that's a good point. I've had infestations in some of mine. So, but it made for some very funny logs, I'll tell you that much. Some people thought they were on, what was that show? I just drew a blank on it. Fear Factor. So, one lady had a whole bunch of like baby spiders that just shot out at her one time, and
that was when Joe Rogan wasn't.
Yeah,
did.
Yeah, that was one of his. Yeah, and then they did something at one of the other parks, and there it went.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those latches. Those are such a great.
They're great. And they sound awesome.
They do.
They'll scare you if you're not ready for it too.
Yeah, they will. When I was building my caches for the here, and the kids would come out and beta test them, the first few times it scared the daylights out of them. So yeah, I heard it hit again.
Yeah, power in there.
So
I don't like how this one's not labeled so good.
So see, this is part of when we're building caches. What we end up doing is that we're trying to, like I've said this before, you guys get to find them, but the builders get more of the FTF because we're the ones that actually have to figure out how it all works in the first place.
Okay, let's try this.
All right, so Chad's putting in the code. I was just
Hang on
saying,
here. My code is denied. Oh, I have a pin that's out. That's why.
Oh.
It's funny is I'm surprised actually it's only this much because I haven't touched. This has kind of just been going around my shop, not doing anything. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. So as soon as the LED turns green, it will open up the latch. So it sends the signal to the latch.
So just finding our way is saying he can't find the 6-volt version of that latch now. It should be there on Amazon. There may be some other ones. I'll have to look for it too. Or I might have bought the last two. Sorry. I really like the 6-volt too.
I think we had a link for it, didn't we?
We did. And I'll have to see if there's another link. And if there is, I'll drop one here in the chat here in just a second.
So what I was doing with this is you saw how it activated. Your power goes in the middle one of your solenoid or relay.
Right.
Yeah. And then one of them is a signal after that connects it. So, and the other one would be power. So anyways, I put it on the wrong side and would flinged it open. So I had to find the right side. So now when it gets the signal, when this turns green, it also sends a signal here that tells it to go ahead and send it 12 volts, which then will open up the latch. So yeah, when you type in the right code, it will activate. Just because the green light's activating. So, and there's lots of other ways to do that rather than, I'm sure, using the green LED, but
Right.
I've done that on lots of caches and it works great for me.
All right. So I just dropped another link in there. I don't know if it's the same one, just finding our way. So, but that is a one there, and it says only one left in stock. Order soon. So, you got one
Order
there.
up.
So, go buy it.
Yeah. If
I'll
wow,
see
that's
Bill
crazy.
now.
I wonder if there's a timeout I got to change on that.
There is, and I'm trying to remember how to do that. Yeah, there is a timeout on it. If you're not recording, it doesn't think it's live. So there's a way that you can bypass that. So hey, always playing with new technology. It's always fun. Cameras, but tell me,
It's
let me
clear
know.
we don't have to focus.
Just finding our way. Just bought it. Thank you. All right, and that helped the channel out a little bit. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
for those who don't know it, if you buy something off the channel, it actually helps support the show. So we do appreciate it if you do that.
But let us know in the chat, what do you think of the new build cam? How do you think it looks and everything? Let us know. Love to hear it.
I don't like it because it shows my big mess that the other one didn't show. So, and in
not
fact,
right
earlier
now.
we had it on wide.
It's cropping. It's cropping. Well, yeah.
Yeah, earlier we had it on the wide view, and you can see everything on the sides. I'm like, wait, now I can't keep stuff there. But anyway, now you guys will just see how unorganized I am. So just talking about batteries, when he was talking about 12 volts and stuff, one thing I like to use in caches, because people ask that for these latches, is I like to use 12 volt batteries,
Okay.
the lead acid batteries. Change them out regularly because they will discharge.
Right.
And make sure you have a momentary switch or button on there or something that doesn't leave them on all the time. And then on other ones that I'm using, so I have in a fish hatchery a big multiple stage cache there that is pretty much this crack the code cache, and they're all ran off of the 6 volt batteries because this is what could fit in the container. And last time I changed those batteries out was over a year ago. So, but I need to get out there. I try and do it every 6 months. But the hatchery's been closed because of COVID. So
yeah,
I haven't had a chance to get out there.
So I am looking for some more of those 6 volt latches.
6 volt latches. Nice. Nice.
So, while we're talking, but yeah, I found a lot of 12 volts. Now I do see some 6 volt solenoid latches, like the one that we've used before.
Say it one more time, Derek. Sorry, I was reading.
Sorry. The 6 volt solenoid latch. I'll see if I can. It's like the drawer latch, kind of the silver metal one where you can pull the inside out and flip it around.
Yes, so you can flip it around.
Yeah, all I'm finding right now, everybody, is the 6 volts or 12 volts right now. So we have bought them all out that I can find.
Luckily, I have several of them here still in my stock.
Yeah, and I have a couple here at my house too. So
I will say on these, so a good point on these, you'll burn this up if you leave it on. So if you're doing anything, make sure it's a momentary switch. I don't like having it on for 10 seconds, but if you have it on anything that stays on too long, you'll actually feel this get hot and it will burn up. So you want to make sure that it is only on for a few seconds, because it only needs a second to open up the door. It doesn't need to stay on very long. So, but you can burn that up, and you will burn it up.
Right. Now, Kilo for Whiskey Kilo says, you think you can use the 12 volt, but put a resistor in line. Now, I've used the 12 volt with the 9 volt, and the 9 volt opened it. But if it drops below 8 volts, the battery itself, it will not open it at that point. So that's just a little bit for you on that too, because I have used the 12 because I have a 12 volt here as well, and I was using 9 volts on some of those.
And we were talking about this actually, Derek. I think we talked about this. Says 6 volt, but I think it needs like 6.2 or 6.3. I think I tested it to actually open. If this is the one we were talking about, I'm pretty sure it was. I don't think it would open just on 6 volts. So it was kind of, to me, kind of deceiving for that. But it could be maybe the one I was testing on maybe was defective or had an issue on that. But you could always use, if it's only on for a few seconds too, you could use a DC converter, so a step-up module, or step-down module to adjust the power you need just to open up the latch.
Okay. Yeah, but I really do like those. Now, like on the builds that I've done, I put in a momentary switch on there, re-switches and a momentary switch on between it, so it would not burn that up. And it also causes the battery to last longer. Or like I always usually do, I like the finder to bring their own batteries, so less maintenance on me.
I'm torn. Part of me, I did that for a lot of them at first. Just because I don't want to go do maintenance. I'm lazy. So, but then you hear, oh, we came all the way out here and found out we needed batteries. And so we had to drive 20 minutes to a store to go get batteries. And it was $5 for, 2 minutes of use, type of thing. And I was kind of feeling bad. So, I get these 12 volt batteries, for our fire. So we can only use them in fire panels for 5 years.
Okay.
And then we got to replace them. So there's nothing wrong with a lot of them. So I get them for free. So I figured, hey, I might as well use them and just switch them out. So that's why I use a lot of the 12 volt batteries.
And it's a great way. And I do like it. And I've thought about how to be able to have power in there. And what are some of the other options that you have besides the 12 volt battery? You also use some, or you were playing around at one point, I believe, with some rechargeable 12 volt.
So I use a lot of 18650s.
Okay.
I like.
I know I'm kind of throwing you a curveball on this.
Huh?
I know I kind of threw you a curveball on.
Oh no, it's okay. I got a whole bunch. So this is an 18650 battery. So this is the same battery that Tesla's run on, but Tesla has thousands of them in a battery cell.
And they look like double A's.
So it looks like, I was just going to grab one to show you because it looks like it. So this is 18650 and this is a double A.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's a difference in them. They're rechargeable. They're 3.7 volts instead of 1.5. And then you can obviously get different milliamp hours. This is 9800. These are Chinese things. I don't know if it's really 9800 milliamp hours or not, but I've never had an issue. All my puzzle boxes that you see at events all run off of 18650s. And then that way I can just recharge them and put them in, and they will last a full weekend. Just depends on how much stuff I have the cache doing, if I leave it on. But if it has a lot of lights, a lot of different things, it will wear it down a lot quicker, but just depends. Okay. Another thing I do, if I don't want to do 18650s, is I have a bunch of these D-cell holders with the 2.0 barrel jack on them.
Okay.
And these, you unscrew it, and it will just fit the D-cells in it. And they're nice and closed, so you can't get to them. They're not really weather tight, but they're fairly good. That screwdriver's too small. But these work really well. Number one head.
And to let everybody know, those 18.6, I believe, are the same ones that you have. I'll drop a link in the description right now. It's a low ion battery, correct? So here's a link.
Lithium ion battery, yes.
Yeah, lithium. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to read it sideways on the screen. This is an 8-piece set, and they're about $19 for 8 of them. And then I'm also going to drop a holder in there as well for you as well.
Now, the only thing, be careful on them because they can catch on fire. So don't get a cheap charger and don't let them charge without you being home or being somewhere where you can stop it if you smell something. They actually sell fire. I don't know if I have it here with me. There's actually a fire case that actually you charge in. Okay. So if the battery explodes, it won't catch everything else on fire. Not to scare people. I've never had one explode. I've had them blow up. As far as like they expand.
Okay.
But I've never had one explode on them. So
now, do you usually run it off of 1 or 2, like on a 2 in a tandem?
2 typically, because they're 3.7 volts. It will run, Arduino, no problem. If I'm running, a Simon Says that needs more voltage for the lights to get some brighter lights on it,
right?
Then I'll run 4.
Okay.
My Simon Says I actually use rechargeable D cells just because they last longer, typically. But I use this, so this is kind of a cool setup. I don't know where you'd find these.
Yeah, I'll look for those here in a second. So,
well, these are because of my job, I get a lot of useless crap like this. We do a lot of commercial, property work, building work, right. And these are the battery packs for automatic faucets for bathrooms.
Oh, okay.
So the faucet turns on. This is a battery pack for it.
So the link I just dropped in there is the 18650 battery case holder with lead wire bundle, and it says a 1, 2, 3, and a 4 slot connections that you could use. So that's in there. That's the link I just dropped into the chat, so you can guys, if you want to check that out, if you're wanting to do the 8650, that there's an option for you. And I have not, there's a charger that Chad just pulled up, and I have not found a charger yet, but they're on Amazon. You can probably find it through that link that I just put up there as well.
Yeah, and so I brought this up because this will charge anything from AAA up to 18650. I don't know if D cells would fit in here very well, or C's, but I charge every AAA, AA, 18650s on this, and this will charge all the different types. So you have lithium ion, and you have there's a whole bunch of different types of batteries. So it actually will recognize which one it is, and it'll tell you. It'll actually, when it's charging, it will tell you the milliamp hours and all that stuff. So you can actually see when the battery goes dead. And once in a while, when the 18650s will only charge to like 0.8 volts or something. And so you have to get rid of it. But this is the one I use. There's lots of them out there.
Okay.
So, let's see. Any other questions up there?
No, not right off. Just a lot of it is, and that's one thing I really like about, there's a lot of different options and variations that we can do on these caches, from where the cache finder brings the power, or where we provide it, in the different ways of adding power to it. There are some other batteries that I was looking into this last week. And Dave, if you're still in the chat, I'm trying to remember there. It's a Energizer, really good AA battery and AAA batteries. The ultimates or maximums or super fragilistic expialidocious ones, I don't know. They're really big. they're really, what I've understand, that they can hold a charge pretty well, even in weird weather climates. So that's another option too.
Yeah, and he went over that on the podcast we did with him when he went over how to internally power a cache.
Right.
So yeah.
So go check that back out. That was several months ago. That's one of the first ones, wasn't it? That was before
it was a way. It may is my guess, but I could be way off. I don't remember. So, yeah, bring your own batteries. It's up to you what you want to have.
Oh, here it is. Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Yeah.
So those are really good batteries as well. So you can check those out as well.
Yeah. Is there any other questions that I missed? Sorry, I haven't been watching too much, but
No, they were just pretty much, a lot of them were just talking about the soul, just different on the different parts of it. Just fine, but you still have to pull the door open on the solenoid latch. That's a different one. Yeah, if it just pulls back, whereas the one that Chad was showing there, it'll sling that door open. It's really cool. And I have
so we can go back to the. Sorry, go finish there, Derek.
Okay. So yeah, and I did a video a couple weeks ago. That's the one that Chad has in his hand right there. Yes, you would have to open the door on that one. But the 6-volt or the 12-volt one where the pin is in there that we had earlier will sling the door open. And the video that Joshua Johnson did, or the geocaching vlogger did, of the one that you built had that in there. And then I did one a couple weeks back that had that other one in there as well. And the way it slung it open, it was really great. We'll get that
That camera.
So,
okay. So yeah, so the one you're talking about where you have to open it is the solenoid type latch here, where it actually only brings it back into the case, right? So it's a magnet that pulls it back. And yeah, you would have to open it. And I use these on my very first puzzle boxes, and you'd hear it click, but it doesn't open. And then it would relatch before people would realize they need to open the door.
right.
So I didn't like that as much. And then a friend of mine turned me on to these other ones that actually open, that pop it open. And I was like, that's what I'm gonna use for now on. Those are the best.
Yeah, I really like those too. I've used one of those as well. And now there's another one that we may be talking about here pretty soon that's really cool. And it's an RFID one that kind of does this, they'll sling it out there as well.
Yes, yeah, it pops it out. Yeah. I showed that one actually for a couple weeks. I got it right here. I built it on that key one. Real quick, these come in 12-volt, and then there's a smaller 6-volt version of it. And then they also come in one that's just a pin that pops through, right? So it's actually not a latch. I will say, if you do buy these ones here, when you're looking for it, it will come just like this. Make sure you look for the one that actually has the door latch piece. Otherwise, you got to build your own. And I used to build my own, and then I found a company that sold this with it, and I was like, why am I building my own if I can just buy it with it? It's the same price.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're buying one and that's an option, I would look for that. The other one is, what cache did I build that in? I got too much stuff. Yeah, struck out.
Not that one.
This one. I gotta get rid of some of these builds.
Yeah, you and me both. I mean, I have a huge, almost
I
a
have
warehouse
drawers
now.
of all our builds here, and honestly, I'll never put them out. So they're kind of just there. Okay. So this one here that I showed on the podcast. So this is the key station. And it says on it, there's a label that says it's a geocache key station. You must find the correct key to access the logbook, right? And then you have I don't have it mounted in there, bolted in or silicone in, but then you have all the keys. Well, none of these keys work, so it'll never open that. The correct key, see if I can center that a little bit better, is this right here is the correct key, and you put it over it, or I know in front, and it actually opens. And did you see that lift? It lifted up, and that acts it. So it's just an RFID card reader. This is one of the ones off Amazon that we found, and it actually works pretty good. I'm actually impressed, but it actually pops it out, so it'll actually go open. So that's kind of cool.
And I've gotten one of those myself, and I am trying to figure out the build for it right now.
Yeah.
So,
The fun thing about those that are already being built is, you know, you don't have to go through the whole coding process, the whole building of the Arduino, you know, the solder and everything. That's done. It comes with several cards on there.
Right.
And so, you know, and what were they, like $15 or something, between 15 and 20 bucks.
Yeah.
So if it lasts a year and you got to replace it, it's not the end of the world. You know, they're really cool. And it's really pretty much just the reader and the latch itself. Well, the RFID one is just the latch box and the RFID cards, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I'm looking for that latch right now. Trying to remember where I saw it. I know I got it off Amazon, but trying to find which one it is.
I got 4 of them right here.
I got one somewhere, and I think it's out in my shop right now.
Yeah, so it's this one here. Pretty simple. Well, now they have different latch systems on them when you get them. So I actually did not like the original one I got. And so I started looking at the latch system and found this one, and I like this one better. So this is the one I have on that box. And so this has, you can see it comes with, probably should just do this for a different podcast, but it comes with the 3 RFID tags and then 3 cards.
Oh, that's a different one than I got too.
Is it? Yeah. So I like this one better because you can take this latch. This is the mechanism that you mount. So I guess, is this the latch? No, this is the catch. You can put it on this way, or you can put it on this way. So you can flip it and decide which way you want to have it. So if you want on the side of the box,
that's convenient.
And the reader is here, or if you want on the top of the box.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I like that. And then, of course, they all come with an override. So if you have any issues with the lock, you just got to drill a small hole and put this out of the hole. And then you just have to go back with this USB cable, hook it to a battery pack and plug it in. And then you can actually open it up. So, which is awesome.
Now, is that it's not a GHG hidden RFID card door lock, is it? Is that what that one is?
I have a couple. Let me see what it says on it. Did that come with it?
Because I found that one, and I don't know if that's the one that you have in your hand there or not.
Yeah, and I ordered a couple different ones because when you're looking at them on Amazon, it shows the circle. That's like, oh, some show a circle on the door that I'm thinking is the reader, and some show nothing on the door. So it's like, okay, there's no reader, so you can't tell. None of them have a reader on the outside. It's a sticker that they put
right
on the picture, and so I just don't use it. I throw it away.
Yeah,
so
and
I don't want to give anybody hints.
Right, that's the one. Yeah, exactly. Unless it's a kid in there, then you can give a little hint. But yeah, I found the one that I have, but I looked at the one that you have.
Is that better?
Okay.
We'll have to put it up there.
Yeah, I'll find it.
This is the original one that I got. And so it works the same way. You have the override, and then you only have, I broke the battery door on accident. Then you have the latch here, but it only goes in one way right here. It does fling it open, but I just don't, I like to have the option. In fact, one of the reasons why I bought the other one is because of that cache I just showed. I wanted to scan on the front, not the top.
Right.
So anyways, that's how that works. The battery system, it's okay. It works the same way. I just wanted to position it in a different area. Okay. And then I accidentally, when I mounted this was a little too high. And so I didn't want to drill new holes because it only had to go up, 1/8 of an inch. So I 3D printed a spacer for the back, which brought it down. But anyway.
All right. So I just dropped the first one that I found it. The first one I found was like $50, and so I went through a bunch of them. So I just dropped the link to it's a Code Ace electronic cabinet lock, hidden DIY, RFID drawer lock with, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of information on there. So yeah, it takes 4 AA's batteries, and it will has that. So yeah, so the link is there in the chat now for that RFID card, where you can do the on the top or on the side. So
yeah, that's perfect. So there's lots of different ways. That podcast we did with Dave on internally powering them, he goes over a lot of good stuff, and of course that's what he did for a living, and he's very smart at it. So I would watch that again and go over what he is talking about. So yeah.
Well, Chad, I think this has been a phenomenal random show.
Yeah,
we talked about different variations of a lot of the different caches that you've built and some different ideas, and then we've just gone from there. We are back next week, and what are we planning on doing next week?
So next week we're gonna do a podcast about what kind of gift to give your gadget cache builder or cache builder, for the holidays, which I think is going to be fun. Unfortunately, I think we touched on a couple of them that we were going to go over next week,
but that's okay. We'll get them again next week.
Yeah, and any of the listeners out there that have an idea or what they would do, send us an email. We'd love to bring it up on the show. We'll say it. You recommend this about it. For cachers too, because I have a list of stuff, but just because it's something I would recommend or think would be good doesn't mean that that's what it would be good. So
right, and you can send that to gadgettalkpodcast@gmail.com. You can also tag us on Instagram at Gadget Talk Podcast. Sorry, I was about to draw a blank on that one. So yeah, we can tag us on Gadget Talk, or you can also tag Chad at BounceBounce8 on Instagram, or myself at Behind the Cache on Instagram as well. So we'd love to see any of your builds. If you've taken some of these ideas, these variations, love to see those as well. So
yes, and yeah, if anybody wants to follow us on Instagram, if they're curious on what we're building or anything I'm building, it's the Gadget Talk podcast on Instagram.
Yep.
Or they can follow my personal one, the BounceBounce8 on Instagram.
Right.
If they want. So,
and then mine is, of course, I said Behind the Cache, and doing a lot of different builds and using a lot of the different stuff that we use here on that channel as well, doing a lot of different stuff. So, and you'll hear me mention Chad a lot on there, just because we've talked about different ideas on there. And as Tom Brotherman has said, smash that like button, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not subscribed. And if you would like to become a patron, check that out. Oh, cannot forget, there is such an awesome event coming up December 6th. It is the Podcast of Hope that the Geocache Talk Network does, and we'll be raising money for St. Jude. We will be starting at 4:00 Central Time, and we'll be going to midnight, raising funds for St. Jude. I'm really looking forward to it. We're gonna have a lot of fun guests on there, so be there. And a lot of us are gonna be doing different stuff on there that night. So please join us that night. And I was looking for the link. I could change the background real quick, but let me see if I can find the links.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Last year I was, honored to be one of the interviews on it before I actually started the podcast with them, and I had a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward this year to be a part of it as well. Again.
Yes. And I think this is it right here. Fundraiser at stjude.org, POH 2020. So there's the link. You can go ahead and donate now, which is good. But if you wait till that night, there's going to be some special giveaways that'll be coming out. I know there may be a few things from Gadget Talk that we're giving away. I know I have something from Behind the Cache that I'm giving away in one of the hours. So there's a lot of different stuff. So that is, once again, that's December 6th. And it is from 4 Central to midnight here Central. So you can figure out your time zone where you're at. I know Arizona doesn't change now, or we're all in this Eastern, and all that. I don't know. If y'all figure out where you're the time zone, central from central. So, but really look forward to it. It's going to be a fun evening, and really looking forward. And it's such a great cause to raise that money for them. So, and also Thursday here in the U.S., it's Thanksgiving. Everywhere else in the world, it's Thursday. But so happy Thursday to the rest of the world, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody here.
Yes.
So, all right, Chad, I am looking forward to next week as going over the gadgets for Gadget Builders Christmas list. And that'll be a lot of fun. And then we'll probably be dropping links into the chat the whole night as we're going through as well. So, any other final words, Chad?
Nope. Just looking forward to what's coming up here in the future. And, maybe possibly at the beginning of next year, we actually might have some extra stuff here on the show that will include some of the listeners. So, looking forward to doing that. So, after the first year, we'll have some announcements or some things for everybody who listens on that.
All right. Sounds good. All right, everybody. Hope you have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving. And don't forget to check out Podcast Hope on the 6th.